Welcome to the Curtis World Podcast, where I talk about stories that are happening just right here in the United States, as well as other events across the world. But don't forget, hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel so that you can always be informed whenever I have information that you really don't want to miss. Hi, thank you for joining me. I'd like to talk about something that's very prevalent in our news right now, and it's Charlie Kirk. You know, I am going to admit I did not know a lot about Charlie. I mean, he was a younger person, so yeah, I tend to listen to people who are more mature. But since his passing, I have had a chance to evaluate the entire situation, not just about Charlie and what it was that he spoke about, his motivational speeches that he gave to colleges, but I've also had a chance to observe the way we respond to something like what happened to Charlie. First of all, I would like to say that I offer my sincere condolences to his family. And what we saw happen to him should never happen, especially in the United States, a country that's supposed to be the bastion of freedom. But because of what Charlie believed in, which was Christianity, because of his speech, then you had people that felt like they had the right to end his life in the most heinous way possible. And so I must first speak to that. And so all of the people out there that were celebrating the demise of a 31-year-old young married man with very young children, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Now, I want to let's look at some of the circumstances surrounding not just what has happened to him, but even right before it. One thing that I want to examine, and I am not making any kind of assumptions, I'm not making any accusations, but the one thing that I want to really address is the very strange relationship that Israel has with Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk was a giant, a once-in-a-century talent who defended freedom, defended America, defended our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie loved Israel. He loved the Jewish people. He told me so in a letter that he sent me just a few months ago. One of my greatest joys as a Christian, he said, is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. He encouraged me to make the case directly to the American people about how vital Israel is to U.S. national security. He told me, the Holy Land is so important to my life, it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Now, if Charlie disagreed with a policy of mine or a decision here and there, not only did I not mind, I welcomed it. This is the essence of Charlie. This is the essence of a free country. It's exactly what Charlie stood for. And I knew that his suggestions always came from the heart, from his love for Israel and from his love for the Jewish people. A few weeks before his death, I spoke to Charlie. I invited him to visit Israel again. And sadly, that won't happen. Now some are peddling these disgusting rumors, perhaps out of obsession, perhaps with Qatari funding. What I do know is this: Charlie Kirk was a great man, and a great man deserves honor, not lies. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing.
And now, after looking at hundreds of videos, I see that he went to Israel a couple of times. Maybe he talked to Prime Minister Netanyahu a couple of times. But this relationship is now proving to be very strange. And the reason it's so strange, listen to something that Charlie said not long before his demise. Listen.
Had the same. I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier. Right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question.
Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is how everyone has put in this information about Israel, and they have related it to Charlie's to his assassination. The reason that's so strange is Charlie Kirk was a U.S. citizen. He was a Christian motivational speaker. Christian. He had his ties to Israel should have been minuscule, if any, because it's just not normal. If it were normal, then, everybody has to ask, why would it be normal? Because I'm asking this question about our Congress right now. Americans, we're not accustomed for anyone for us to be attached to any nation. We're far more attached right now to Israel than we were probably to England right after the Revolutionary War. So it leaves people like me, people like Charlie's friends like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, all of these people, it makes them question what was going on with this relationship. Anyway, once you look at it and look at what Tucker Carlson had to say about it.
I was shocked and sickened by the reaction of the ghoulish and really repulsive reaction of the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, to Charlie's death. Basically made it all about him and all about his country. Immediately trying to take the energy, the sadness, the grief that people felt over Charlie's murder and redirect it towards support for whatever project he's involved in. And by the way, Benjamin Netanyahu is not the same as the nation of Israel at all, but I don't think I've ever seen anything lower than his attempt to hijack Charlie's memory and use it for his own political ends, particularly because what he said was completely untrue. Charlie didn't hate Jews. He loved Jews. He had tons of friends who were Jews. He loved the state of Israel. He loved going there. He did not like Bibi Netanyahu, and he said that to me many times, and he said it to people around him many times. He was appalled by what was happening in Gaza. He was, above all, resentful that he believed Netanyahu was using the United States to prosecute his wars for the benefit of his country. Didn't hate Netanyahu, but he certainly expressed that to me and a lot of other people. Enough text messages exist that I think it can probably be verified in pretty short order. Not that it needs to be, because that is true.
And I kind of agree with him. What was going on? And now this is the part to me that makes it very, very strange, is the constant information that is released by the Prime Minister of Israel. And I keep saying, why? If this person, this American speaker, this American influencer, if he is doing his job, why do you feel that it's necessary for you to make comments on it? This is the part that makes all of us look like this is really strange. And it did not help that our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, just a day or so after Charlie's assassination, that he went to Israel and he was like, this is what we're doing. I'm asking, as an American citizen now, is something going on in our country that 99% of Americans don't know about? Because it's very strange that we just had 250 U.S. Elected officials that just went to Israel, and we don't even understand this thing about 50 and Israel. We don't quite get it. And if I am going to be a part of another country, I think that's something that should be put on a ballot, that the United States, we should have a constitutional convention about it to discuss our allegiance to a country that all of us are questioning right now. And so with Charlie Kirk's assassination, with the constant communication from their prime minister, it makes all of us question it. And one thing I saw in the last couple of days, that everybody is attacking Candace Owens and attacking Tucker Carlson and everybody else that mentions it. everybody should mention it. This is something that should get every American's attention, because I don't care who it is, if this same thing were going on with Mexico, I would want to find out, do we have some new allegiance, some new relationship with this country that we have not been informed about, something that the American public has not given its opinion on. And so I also heard that they're worried because Charlie had such a large youth audience that the youth were going to turn against Israel. Now, in the wake of his assassination, I still ask that same question. Why do you care what an American has, the relationship that they have with young people in the United States? I still don't get it. And there's nothing they can say right now that they have said, should I say, that makes me get it. And I thank God for Charlie's friends. I thank God for Candace Owens and Tucker and Megyn Kelly and even now Matt Gaetz. And you have other people asking what's going on here. Did you all do something to our country and we do not know about it? It's time for someone to release some information about this strange relationship that has just suddenly popped out of nowhere in the last month or so. And what is the relationship to Charlie Kirk? And I'll tell you something else that made us very, very suspicious about it or question it tremendously is when, the assassination first happened, everybody said that Ben Shapiro was going to take over Turning Point USA. And I must say this, there is no worse person to take over a Christian organization than a person that says we don't play that Jesus game. Listen to what he has to say.
No. We don't even believe, from a Jewish point of view, where we don't believe in the divinity of Christ. I think that there you can make an argument that the Gospels, which were written,
he was just a prophet, and right?
No. We don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble, just like a lot of other Jews at that time who were crucified for trying to lead revolts against the Roman and got killed for their trouble.
So he became legend in story, and it became a bigger and bigger deal as time went on.
Yeah, he had a group of followers, and then that gradually grew, and then
do you think he was resurrected?
No, that's not a Jewish belief.
Okay, I just want to check.
Yeah, no, we're not into
we're not
into miracle stories. No, that's
no?
No.
You don't have any miracles?
No, not by Jesus. Right?
No?
They're ones in the Old Testament.
Ones?
Like I can't join a church. I assume I don't believe the things that people in the church believe.
You probably could if you donate. You got to give the right amount of money.
Well, I don't believe in the Jesus, so there's that
Jesus.
Part. Yeah, that's not my thing, right? I mean, so that's
now. Are you just as totally just shocked as I am? That was abhorrent. And I don't care what I think. The one thing about it that I grew up in the Methodist church. My grandfather, my uncles all were very active in the church, were pastors. And so I grew up being a Christian. I don't denounce my Christianity to anyone at any time. I will not pledge allegiance to another country and another religion. So it makes you wonder, even if I felt that way, even if I have feelings about Muhammad, even if I have feelings about anybody else in any religion, I am not going to publicly sit there and make fun of the religious leader in any religion. And so the fact that Ben Shapiro said this, it lets everyone know that he has no respect for our religion and whomever it is. I don't care who it is in the United States that even thought that he should take Charlie Kirk's place, a Christian's place. You really have betrayed the entire trust of our entire Christian population, which the last I checked was about 63% of the U.S. population. So for all of these people out here that have decided that the United States is now going to be Jewish, we're not. Okay, we're not. Not that we have anything about them. I don't have anything against them, but I'm Christian and I'm not going to denounce it for anyone. Now, I know this. A lot of you have campaign contributions from Israel or from whatever, AIPAC or whatever. That's fine. I don't even care about that, honestly. But I'm going to tell you what you're not going to do. You're not going to turn Christians into we're not all of a sudden going to become Jews. That is not going to happen. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Now, it could be something that is way above our knowledge right now that you have done. And it appears appears as though there's something very, very strange that you have done. But the one thing about it, for Charlie Kirk and his family, Christians in the United States stand with his family. We do not, it's not, what happened to him should not happen to anyone in any country, especially the United States. So to Charlie Kirk and his family, to Charlie Kirk's family, shall I say now, we offer our sincere condolences, and we do stand with you. We are Christians. We are a Christian nation. Understand that. We, if you look at almost everything, it was written for Christianity. And so for all of you people, and it looks like we have an issue with the United States that was started as a Christian nation. It looks like we have an issue right now going on with all of the people that are running our country, because it appears as though they might not agree with that anymore. But if they don't, I think we should have a constitutional convention, and all of Americans should decide if all of a sudden we're tied to another country and another religion. Thank you.